40 some cigar. See, I got 32, 40. I got over 40 cigar boxes a week or so ago at one of the local smoke shops here in town. And I looked for wooden ones and I hit the jackpot. When I bought some about a month or so ago, I went in a shop and I just went wild because she had so many. And I bought about 30, 40 then, but when I got them home, they were cardboard. And that was a big mistake. So when you buy one, you want to make sure that you're getting the wooden ones. Okay, I did one in my private group this past week, and I showed that one to you all finished. And today I'm going to do one here, and I have done some prep and some getting ready because there are certain things that have to have drying time that you can't always do while you're, you know, sitting on a live. So I went ahead and prepped it. But I started with this box right here. I was lucky enough to get only 2 of these. Okay, this one is all wood. I love these wooden boxes. And the lady said they come in, they're very expensive boxes. But I bought them in a grouping and I got a good price because I bought so many. So this one is very, very pretty. All wood inside and wood. And this one, the one I'm painting on was, I think it was red. This one's blue, but you can spray paint it. You just take your, I use Rust-Oleum's 2-in-1 white flat spray paint. I spray painted the inside and I spray painted the outside. It did have a stripe around it of a paper stripe, and I was able to get that off with just a razor blade. And then the final thing, I used a little bit of gook, I believe it's called, to spray to get that glue off. So then it's ready to go. Now the lid, this one already has a nice latch on it. So I did just paint over the latch, and then I'll go back in and repaint the latch. The one down here is the one I'm going to be working on today. But if you spray paint it, and a lot of girls have asked me, what do you do about the smell? I don't have any problem with the smell. They don't smell after this one has no cigar smell whatsoever. So once you spray paint it, once you get the paint in there, then I've done a dozen or more boxes in the last few months. In this, you know, last 6 months, I've done a whole lot of them and never had any smell. When you paint this inside now, this is raw wood inside when it comes to you, and I've already spray painted the inside of this one. So you need to take your sandpaper and sand this. This right now feels like fur, and you need to sand that all back down and get it till it's nice and smooth on the inside. So I wanted to show you the box. This is what I started with when I started this one. Okay, now I've got it to this point. I did this one white inside first, then I went back and painted it black inside. I'm going to leave this one. I wanted it to be black inside, and I'm going to use the Soft Touch varnish by Pen Art. Should have some over here, but the Soft Touch varnish makes it kind of look velvety, gives you a dull finish, and it's kind of velvety looking. So you'll be able to use it to see it that way. That's all I'm going to do probably to the inside, and maybe put some beading or something around, you know, a little border around the insides here. Okay, then I spray painted the outside all white, including the latch. Haven't painted the bottom. I'll paint that bottom black too. It'll get black. Now I put some design on the top of it, and this is what I had to do. I had to do this yesterday because I had to let it dry. So the only thing I did to get that, and this is a stencil. This is a different one than what I used, because the one I used, I went in the house and washed it, and I left it. I laid it down somewhere, and I have no idea where I've laid it, because I moved stuff all day yesterday. I had to clean out my family room yesterday and take a couch to Goodwill and all, because if we have to have a hospital bed for Daryl, that's where he'll go. So I worked on that all day yesterday, and when I cleaned that stencil, I put it somewhere, and I have no idea where I put it. Okay, I hope you'll share out this video and help me keep up with what I'm doing. Just share the video, and we may have a little bit of surprises for those that share the video. Okay, now what I did, I used the Stamperia. This is Stamperia, and I like this cream paste. It's same thing, different brands of it, different stuff, so that you can use it, but this just happens to be the one I've got used to using, and it is Stamperia's Mixed Media Art Cream Paste, and you can find it on Amazon, and it's just a white thick paste, Well, that one's new. I don't want to open that one. Let me see where the one is that I done used out of. I hadn't opened that one. When I open it, I like to use because I don't want it to dry out. Okay, it looks like this when you get inside of it. Then I just took my palette knife. What I done, just take a little bit of it. I laid my stencil down on top of here, just like so. Then I took a little bit of my stuff out, and I started in the corner, hold it in place. And I started up where I wanted to do, and I smoothed that all over. Just took my palette knife, just like icing a cake, and I put a thin layer so it went down in all the holes. Now you'll have some of it on your stencil. That's what you have to go in and clean off. So I did all that and put that, just iced all that on there until I had it all covered. I did it top and bottom. Then you gently lift that stencil off, and it'll leave your pattern on there. And then you've got to let that dry. I've never tried, you could probably sit and dry it with a dryer, but that's going to take a while. So I usually do them the day before. I'll put the stencil work on the day before and then do, but you can see that it's textured. It has a raised effect. See, you can see how it's raised up on there, and I want that design to be on there. Now I went down on the front and I did the same thing right here on the front of the box. So I'm ready now to paint it. I didn't put any on the sides or the back. I'll go back in later and I'll repaint these hinges, probably gold, and I'll repaint this little button here, okay? So now I'm ready to do this one, and I'm going to do it with the metallics. And then after I get the paints and stuff on, I'm going to use I got a new mold here, new frame mold. It goes in my resin pieces, and I made a new design that's going to put in, so I'm going to do that, put that on top of the box after I get all the painting done. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make two different colors on this one. I want the top part of the box, this part up here, down the first. It's not a very deep box, just a real shallow box. So I'm going to paint this blue. I want all this part to be blue, and I'm going to do it metallic. Then I'm going to paint this bottom part another color of metallic, but I want it to be like in the brown. So I'm going to start with the blue one. You know what? I just got to thinking, if I do that two colors, I'm going to be separating that design there is going to get separated. So maybe I don't need to do that. I hadn't even thought about that. So we may just go with the blue metallic and see how it works with that, and then we can always use some darkening colors. Now when I use metallics, unless I want them to stay the same color, if I want this to stay this bright blue, then I choose a color in my paints. I don't have a blue here handy, but I choose a color of paint that is near to that. I'm just going to pick up one here. Well, there's one just about this bright color. Okay, so if you want to keep this blue metallics are very hard coverage. It takes multiple coats to get a good coverage on metallics. So I would choose a regular color. When I go to the store, I don't pick paints by the name on them. I pick them by what they look like in the bottle. So if I bought that metallic and I wanted to use it, that color, then I would go to the regular paint and buy me a color. Doesn't matter what brands they are. You can mix brands. I would buy me a color matching to that. See, this is the regular color and this is the metallic color. Then I would paint the box first with this color, the regular, and then go back over it with a coat of metallic, and you will end up with that pretty blue metallic on there. Otherwise, you're going to put multiple coats of this. But I also like to use my metallics with black. I like to give that black, makes it opaque so it's not transparent. And you just put enough black in to do the color, to change the color to what you like, whatever you like. Okay, so I've got my palette over here, and I'm going to put me out some of this blue first. I'm going to try to mix enough. I want to mix enough to get the whole thing done. So I'm going to put some blue metallic on my palette over here. I'm going to turn my camera just a little bit so you can see, because I use a wet palette. Okay. And that's got a thing in it, so it's not coming out good. I'm going to have to take the top off. Let me get me, so I don't get paint all over me. And I did it anyway, so we'll take the top off. Try a little bit of that and get my blue out there first. Then I've got just some black over here on my palette. I just squirted out some black paint. Well, all my paints are gooked up today. I don't know why that is. That one's coming out gooky too. Okay, so I've got my black out and my blue, and I'm going to take my palette knife. I'll move this over here to where you can see. I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm going to mix that black over into my blue till I get achieve a color that I like. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bit. When you mix paint, you always want to start with your lightest shade. Don't take that black and try to put the blue over in your black, or you'll be using paint for a week. You'll have enough to do 25 projects if you do that, because you'll keep having to add that color to that. See, that's getting to be a real pretty blue color. And I'm thinking that may not be enough, because I'll probably have to do 2 coats on that. So I'm going to put a little more black in there, and I'm going to put a little more of a blue on there. Dropped it again. It's better to mix too much than not enough. If you're working on something and you're going to work on it again right away, a lot of times you can get that color to mix, to mix it good and achieve the color you want by just having some of it there on your palette to look at. And you can remix it again. But this is just a real pretty navy, kind of a navy metallic. Okay, so I'm ready to go now. And I'm going to get me a good sized brush so I don't work all day. And I'm going to start right up here on the back of my box. You know what, I'm probably going to paint, I'm going to go ahead and paint the whole thing, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to put that brown. But I'm just painting right over top of that. All of that stuff on there is dry. And I'm just painting right over top of that. Just take your brush and it'll go right down in, because the waxes, we'll use some waxes or some rub and buff or some other things to pull out the colors in this design, to change the color on it so that we can get a pretty effect on this, on the design. Okay. We've had rain in Tennessee today. We've had the worst spring. Our weather's been terrible all winter, so we still got up this morning. It was cold enough almost to turn the heat on again. And we'll go ahead and paint the side here. See, it's going to take 2 coats, because you're seeing how transparent it is. That's okay. You're nearly always going to use 2 coats even of your metallic over your other background. But if you try to put just the metallic on there, you'll do 5 or 6 coats before you're able to get it covered good. I'm going to go right on the front, paint the front end. I think I'll be able to do, I'm going to try to do some videos. Like today, my girls are home, so they can watch Papa and listen to Papa while I'm in the shop. See, I just went right ahead and went over that little button with that blue. And I may leave that like that. That makes that, it's not a real pretty latch it's on there. So if I just leave it in that blue, there's a latch on it, but it's not real noticeable. Because we can put some legs on this box and some other things. I like to put the legs on them. All those things you can buy from Amazon. These are the kind of things we work on in my private class. If you've not are interested in joining, it's $21 a month, and it's called Vintage Chic Creators, and we have a good group of ladies in there. And we meet once a week, plus there's lots and lots of free designs in there. I share all my designs. I do all my own designing, and I share that with the ladies in my group, a lot of them. There's probably between 50 and 75 patterns already in there of designs that you can print your own. And I add new ones almost weekly. We get new designs put in there. Some of them are exclusive just to the group. Okay. See how pretty that is with that top, that color on there? It grabs it a little different. Nose is itching. It grabs it a little different. So if you wanted to just leave it that way, you still can see that pattern on there. I'm adding a few new, I poured resin all day yesterday, filling orders. But I've added 3 new molds to my resin pieces. That'll be, I hope to get those published this weekend. So you can see. Those are available on my page here on Facebook. You can order any of the designs printed. And all you have to do is send me the stock number that's on the design that you want printed. If you click on that design, you'll see a stock number on every one of them. If you send me that number and your email, your address, and you can order the designs printed. Or you can go over to my Etsy shop and buy them as digitals. Now sometimes I have some in my Facebook that I don't have in the Etsy shop, because the Etsy shop I've got 600 or 700 prints in there, but sometimes I post ones to print on Facebook that I don't put on Etsy. See how pretty that is, the pretty color on that? Now I need to dry that, so I'm going to dry that, and then we'll go back in and put us another color on there. Okay, I'll get my dryer out over here, because I want to be able to get it finished. Well, breakers. Well, excuse me just a minute. Let me get my thing on here for my... There it is. Okay, I think I'm ready for a second color. Boy, I like that color. Like that color really well. See how pretty that is, the color on it? Now I'm going to go right back in with a second coat on it. That is pretty. I love the boxes. And it's hard to find. Sometimes we find them in thrift stores and stuff of just regular boxes, but if you've got a smoke shop in your area, a tobacco shop, then visit their shop. Visit the shop. Like I said, I went to the first one that I went to, and I went wild because she had boxes, and I thought, oh, and I bought a ton of them. But that wasn't the right box, so I have to give them away to the kids. They're good to store stuff in, but I didn't want to work on them because they're cardboard and they didn't have the hinges. So watch what you buy when you buy them. And in some shops here, they're more expensive than I want to pay for them. But this lady had a whole slew, and I offered her. She had them priced $12, $14, $15 a box, but I made her an offer to buy them all, and she took it. So she just really, I don't know how many of them they sell, probably one here and one there, but I bought all she had, and I got 40 some boxes. And I sold a bunch of them online here, but I'm out of the ones I sold. When I get some more, I gave her my number and stuff, so when she calls me, she'll call me when she gets them in. I told her I only want wooden ones. Then I may have some more to sell here on my page. That is a beautiful color. Look at that. See how pretty that is? And I'm not going to put a third coat on it because I want it to be a little bit of variation. I don't want it to be just a solid color. So 2 coats is going to be it, and there will be a few little streaks and things here and there just for variation, so that gives it a little bit more character. Okay. Okay. Now, I love doing with the cream paste, and you can make that stuff to make your lace. There's a video on my page, a quick video that shows you exactly how to use the cream paste. Some people do it with the caulking, the DAP, and I have done that, so you can use that. I just like that cream paste. It's handy and easy, but you can use the DAP caulking. And you have to have a special kind of mold, which are lace molds for cake decorating. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them in Michael's, and you go to the cake section. If you look in the cake section, and you do them the same way that I took the palette knife and iced them. You do that on that mold, and then you let it dry, and you can peel it right off there, and it makes a beautiful piece of lace to put on something. I love this blue color. I like the metallics, but I lean toward the darker ones. I love them, but like I said, I lean toward the darker colors. Why, I don't know. It's just my choice. So there are so many different colors, and every company now has a different metallic paint. It's funny how every year we get all kinds. It's funny and it's amazing that we get all kinds of new products from all different companies. Every year we get new things to work with and new fads, and people come up with new ways to use those things, which is great. Okay. Oh gosh, that's pretty. See, you can see the design on there. See that, how pretty the design? You can see that design on there even without any highlight on that design. You can already see how pretty that is. Okay, now I'm going to dry it again, and then we can go right on to the next step. We're going to put some flowers on the front of it, or on the top. See, this is pretty to just use it like this. If you wanted something just simple and elegant, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That's all you would need to do to it. Just that, and then you're finished. See, then I've got the black on the inside. Now I've got to touch up my edges here. I got to go back with the black and kind of touch up my edges. And like I said, I'll put a coat of varnish on this inside too. I'll varnish it so that it's got a nice finish inside. But see how pretty that is? Just like that. You could do that. That would make a gorgeous gift just like it is. Okay, but we're going to do a little bit more to it. Okay, Now, I printed me out, I made a design, I done cut a circle out of it, so I can't show you the whole design. I should have printed 2 of them and then I would be able to see. But this design here was in the middle of this paper, okay? So I've got, this is the whole paper, and this is one of my designs, it's the whole thing. So I did this. I want to use this new frame. Now these resin pieces, anytime you get them or anytime you use them, you have to paint them white first. You have to get the white paint because this is you know, resin and it soaks up, so you want to put a coat of white paint. All I did was lay it down on paper towel and put a coat of paint on it. Now I'm going to put this in the middle of my piece right here. Because it has a name, there's the Cigar name is in the middle of the box. So I laid this down on my paper, like so. This was my paper and my design. I just laid this frame down on here, and I took my pencil and traced around that flower that I wanted out of there, and then I cut it out. Okay, now I'm going to show you 2. I could use this one, or I could put 2 of these small ones on there, 1 or 2. I could have redone these, and if I done these, then I could cut the designs. See, I cut a design out of that. I could get a design here. So your paper still has uses. When I sell these, you're going to get 1 of this piece and 2 of these small ones. So you will get 3 pieces as a set in this resin piece. My nose is itching. Okay, so I've got that one cut out. And if I wanted to use the 2 small ones, I could use just the 2 small ones. I could go and put 1 small one here and 1 here and use them that way. You know, I could use 2 small ones on there. I could put them up this way, put 2 small ones and you know, put them up that way to put them on there and put my designs in them. But I'm going to use the big one. If you were doing a box, another big box, you could put this one on. You could put this one on something, and then you could put 2 more on here to match it and do you something in a design where you were using all 3 of these. Okay, so I've got those done. Now my paper, since this is a blue surface and I don't want to go back in and paint that, that paper needs to go on a light surface. So I'm going to flip my paper over and I'm going to put a coat of paint on the back of my paper. So I'm going to take me a brush and I'm going to use my white and I'm going to put just a thin coat of white paint on the back of this paper. And that will keep it, you know, make it so that it's solid and you can't see through it. You could put the white on the wood or you can put it on the paper. I'm just using plain white acrylic and painting a coat of white paint on the back of this paper. I'll let it dry and then we'll decoupage it down onto the wood. In the meantime, I'll paint my frame. While this is drying, we'll paint the frame. Just be sure you get all that covered. It just makes the paper opaque and it's not, you know, it's not transparent where you can see, because that darkness will show through if you don't put some paint on that paper. Or you could go back in if you've got a big enough area and you want to paint the box, paint the piece, then put the white, put your white circle on that piece and paint it white and then go back in with it. Okay, so I've got that coat of paint on there. I'm going to lay that up there to dry and I'm going to switch over to my frame and I'm going to paint my frame with that same blue color. Give me another brush to work with. Okay, let's go with this one. And I'm going to put some of this same blue on this frame. Then we'll put some waxes and stuff on it to decorate it. Then we can glue it on there. I hope you'll share this out, share the video out, help me get it out there. You know, girls, the thing that you can do for a crafter is free, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it to help a crafter. All you have to do is do some watch minutes on that video, and you don't even have to sit there and watch it. If you're doing something, you have a crafter that you like and you want to keep them on there, and you're doing something in your kitchen, you're cooking, just turn that video on your iPad or whatever you watch it on, and let it sit there and play. Because you don't have to sit and watch it. It's the watch hours that counts. What Facebook counts is the time spent with that video on. And if it's on, there's nothing more you can do for a crafter better than doing that, than just, watching it. And share it out, spread the word that, that's what helps the crafters to do that. I have very little time to sit and watch videos. I do it at night. And when I sit down to watch TV at night, I have lots of crafters that I love to watch, and I've learned a lot from a lot of them. We all share, we all learn. Everybody you watch, every video you watch, every crafter you watch, you'll learn a little something from them. They always have something, teach you another little step or an easier way to do something. And then you incorporate that into what you already know how to do, and the first thing you know, you've got your whole new thing. You've got a whole new thing that's just yours. But you learn something from everybody. I've taken hundreds and hundreds of classes in my lifetime because I've been in the craft business since I was 26 years old. And I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but you can at least see that from looking at me. So I've been in it for many, many, many years. It's been my only job. I had a brick and mortar shop for 12 years. I've taught classes for 25, 30 years. I traveled up and down the East Coast working shows. I was in the wholesale market in Ohio. I went into the Columbus Merchandise Mart for a couple years. I've done a little bit of everything, and I love it. It's been a great ride and a great way to help make a living for my family. Now I do what I like, which I still love to paint, and if you paint and you do it, you gotta get rid of some of it. So I sell on Facebook, and I sell on Etsy. Don't do shows anymore, don't travel anymore, but I love what I do. I tried to quit, and it didn't work. I tried a few years ago. I just thought I'd quit, put it all away, and it didn't take me 6 months to realize I could not do that. Okay, now see how pretty that frame is? And I could just leave it just like that because it's got some variation of color in it, and I could just leave it like that. But let's dry it and see what it looks like dry. Let me wash that brush a little bit. Get this off my hands. And dry this a little and see how it goes. Now this is what, see, now that paint has curled my design a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to lay it right there on my towel, and I'm going to lay this over top of it, and that's the way it's going to look on top of my box. Okay, and I think I'm just going to leave that. I'm only going to put one coat on there, and I'm going to go in with some waxes and some colors. I need me a soft cloth. Let's see if I got one laying around here. I keep some rags to work with, old t-shirts, and I don't see one. So I guess I'll use this towel. I don't really like to use this. Okay, I'm going to get me a little bit of rub and buff. I'm going to start with the rub and buff and get me a little bit of that out. I'll have to cut me up some old t-shirts today because I've wore them all out. So I've got some rub and buff. I've got some here that's ash gray. I like these tubes. Antiquing wax from ALCHEMY, Alchemy, I guess is the way you say that. But I love these in the tubes because you take out very little, they don't dry out on you, and you can use them. I love them. And I like the rub and buff. I've used it for years. But I've got one here that's a ash gray. I've got one that's a rose colored. So I'm going to play around with these a little bit and put them on my frame here and see what we come up with. Now I don't want to get that on my picture, so I'm going to do it on my frame before I ever get started with that. And I'm going to put just a little smear of it out over here on my palette, because you can't put it back in the tube when you get done with it. And I'm going to take just a soft towel here. This is a wet wipe that's just dried out on me. Like I said, I usually use a piece of t-shirt, and I'm going to come in here and just kind of hit this with the gold. Just hit the high spots with the gold to start with. Okay, that is pretty. You do it with your fingers, but I get that stuff. This craft supplies is hard on your hands. You know that if you're a crafter. You get your fingers and your hands into so many products, and it's really hard on your hands. So I've tried to quit using the waxes and the rub and buff and stuff with my hands, with my fingers. Use a towel or an old rag of some kind. Okay. My shops, I have 2 Etsy shops. I have one on Etsy where I sell my finished products. I've had it on there for a few years, and it's vintage2chic.etsy.com. And my other design shop is vintage2chicdesigns.etsy.com. So they're both 2 shops on Etsy. And then, like I said, I sell here on Facebook. I love that color. See how pretty that is? Look how pretty that is. See that? Now I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to pick me up a little bit. There's little roses on here. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of this rose gold here, or rose color. This is called Sweet Rose. We'll put a little bit of that out. And I'm going to hit the roses with that. And I don't think it'll show up real pink over top of that blue. It's hard to tell what color we get when we put it over that blue. But we'll try and see. These you really can't mess up. Well, we are getting some pink. Okay, just over top of those little roses, it's coming up with some pink. See there? Getting a little bit of pink right here on these roses. Okay, down here on this end. I'm not a clay person, girls. I've tried with clay, but I'm just not a person that enjoys doing the clay stuff. I've sculpted clay. I did that for a few years and sculpted Sculpey and made Christmas ornaments. Did some shows with them and did that. And I love doing that, but the air dried clay is just not my bag. I keep fiddling with it, but it's too frustrating for me, and I like working with the resin. So that's my go-to. I've done a lot with hot glue, but I also like working with the resin. Now see how pretty that little bit of pink goes on there? Now that's going to be on my flowers. Now I'm going to go back in with my box, and before I glue that on there, which is going to go in the middle here, I'm going to come in with my gold, and I'm going to hit some high spots on these, on the design that I've got on there. I'm going to take my gold, and I'm going to go across that design a little bit. And just kind of hit the highs to pull that up. That will just give that a little character and pull that right up out there. I'm not pressing down very hard because I want to just hit the raised parts. I'm not crazy about, going down in there. So I'm just kind of hitting the raised. Just kind of going the way the design is. I ordered me some more stencils today on Amazon. These stencils You can get so many different designs in the stencils, and you can use the paste. The texture paste is what I'm trying to say. I've got the Pin Arts texture paste, but I've not had a chance to use it yet. But any texture paste you can put over top of these molds, to over top of the stencils, to create you a design. Okay, now I got one little spot there where I don't like it, so I'm going to go right back in with a brush, and I'm going to put I've still got that blue paint, so I'm going to pick me up a little bit of that blue paint, and I'm going to fill that right back in because I got a little too solid there. Just my preference. You can put as much or as little as you want on it, but I just wanted to hit the high places. Okay, so I'm going to try to be careful with the other one. See how pretty that is down on the bottom? Now I'm going to go up here and do that. See the difference in it? This one just pulls out the whole design, and that one, see that? So we're going to go, and now we're going to go back in and hit this one. Using the gold again. You kind of run out of things to talk about, especially when we're live. I have a hard time with the lives because I can't, it's hard for me to do the lives and talk and, talk to people and work at the same time. As if chewing gum and walking at the same time, that gets a little hard too sometimes. Okay. T-shirts, old T-shirts is the best thing you can use for that. I keep those cut up as the girls wear them out or we wear them out. I cut them T-shirts in pieces, and that's what I keep for paint cloths, for paint rags. And I'm just about down. I've used my last ones in the shop. I even put them in the laundry for a long time, and then after they get to where they're no longer usable, I trash them. Then I go looking for some more. And I will do that today, be cutting up some T-shirts. Because this cloth is kind of fuzzy. I'm not liking working with this towel. Okay. Okay, now see how pretty that is? Look at that. Gosh, that is pretty. Now I'm going to go back down on the front and hit a little bit on the front part. Okay. Have to move my towel around a little bit. Okay, now I've got that on the front. And you know what? I thought I would paint that gold, but I don't believe I will. I think I will just leave that because it doesn't need to be, it's not as ornate as I'd like it to be, and I didn't want to take it off, so I'm going to leave that. But I am going to go over here on the sides, and I'm going to put a few little streaks of gold across these side edges because I didn't put any of those, didn't do any of the texture down the sides here. I'm going to switch over to this piece of towel here and see if I get a better coverage doing it with that. I'm just going to go right here on the bottom and put me a few little streaks across there. Nothing really harsh or, you know, thing. I'm just going to go around it a little bit. See here, I just hit that with a few little streaks, and I'm going to do that on the ends, both ends, and the back side a little bit. Not very much, just a streak here and there. I varnish everything I do, so when this is done, and I will probably spray varnish this one because of having that texture on the front, and I don't want to brush that and then the varnish get down in those cracks. So I will use Rust-Oleum's clear coat, 2-in-1 clear coat, and you know, and I'll spray it. And I'll do that after it's all done, the mold and all, everything got it all done, then I'll spray it lightly with that finish. And that'll give me, a lot of people don't spray over their waxes, but I find I like it better. It's just whatever your preference is. You know, what you like is what you do. I'm going to go right along this edge a little bit on the top. This is rolled on the ends, so I'm not going to go over that. I'm just going to do the sharp edges. I don't want to roll that over there. Okay, now see that, how pretty that is? All on there. Now I'm ready to put my design on there. Now I'm going to use Mod Podge, which I use Mod Podge with a little bit of water in it. That's my go-to. That's what I started with. That works for me, so that's what I use. And I put it out in a little cup and add a few drops of water to it. And then it's ready to go. So I'm going to get this positioned on here. And I'm going to put my picture down first before I glue my mold down. So I'm going to put this on here. And I'm going to decoupage, use my glue, and decoupage it. Now I want to make sure I've got it right in the place where I want it. Okay, just about like so. So I'm going to hold one end down. And like I said, I painted the back of it white. So let's hope that this works for me. I don't have any problem with it showing through there. Okay, putting just a little bit of glue down. Doesn't take very much. Okay, now I'm going to just lay that down. Take my finger and go across there till I get it laid down real nice and smooth. Now there's a little bit of texture underneath that picture, so you're going to feel those lumps under there a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to turn it. As I'm right-handed, so I want to work to the right. I turn it around and I go to the other direction. I've done a lot of new farm designs too in the last few days. I can sit at night and design. That's what I sit down with my tablet at night, and I can create designs. When I get on a roll, I can create a whole bunch of them, just one right after the other. So I love doing that about as much as I like to paint. Okay, now I'm going to take my paper and just kind of go over that. Lay it down good. Okay, now I'm going to put me a coat of glue right over top of it to seal it in, a coat of the Mod Podge. I could go in, may do that, crackle this with the two-step crackle, just crackle this inside part. But that'll have to be something I do off camera because you can't, it's too aggravating to do it on camera. Okay. Now there's a little bit of texture under there, so I can see that texture, but it won't be noticeable when we get everything on there. That won't be noticeable, so I'm not going to worry about it. Where that was raised a little bit, you can see there's a little bit of raised in there. Okay. Get rid of that glue so I don't knock it over. That's all I need to do. Okay, And I am ready to put this on. Now I'm going to glue this down with Stick Fast. See? Now before I glue that down, because when I glue that down I'm going to have to leave it there. So before I glue it down I'm going to show you what I would do. Let's go back in here. I'm going to leave that till last because when I glue it down I'll have to leave it on there to dry. So let's go back in here, and I'm going to take my black and kind of do my cleanup in here. Put some cleanup with my brush and do the edges. Go back in here and clean up all my places where I got my paint, you know, out there. This is just black paint. Now, like I said, I sanded the inside of this after I got it all done. I sanded it till it's nice and smooth on the inside. And you could paper the inside. If you wanted to go in and paper that, you could paper it. It's totally up to you of what you do to the inside. Sometimes I finish out the inside with paper, and other times I just do it like this. So it's just whatever you prefer. But that soft touch varnish will give it a velvety look on the inside. You could put velvet in it. Just get you some sheets of velvet and you could cover it. This box is big enough to put to put any kind of lining in it that you wanted to. So got a few back here to touch up. And a few up here on the front. I'll show you what else I'm going to do to the inside, but it has to be varnished before I can do that. I'm going to put some beading on the inside. Okay. It's going to be a long video. It'll take a day to load it. We're almost an hour in. It's hard to do anything less than an hour. That's okay. Okay, I've almost got it. Right up here's a few. See, my blue came over there a little bit when I was putting that blue on. It came into the box just a little because of the brush, so that's what I'm covering back up, is that little bit of blue that got in my box. I love the pearls from Hobby Lobby, the pearls that are self-sticking. So I'm going to show you. That's probably what I'm going to put on the inside. And I've got all different sizes here. You can buy these at Hobby Lobby, and they are in the Paper Studio section, which is in the where the scrapbook supplies are at. They come in all different. See here, this one comes all different sizes in a package. And this one's just $2.50, so if you buy it when they're half price, they're just $1.50. $1.50 in taxes. This one is just beads, like rhinestones. Okay? Now, I will take these. I love these pearls. And I'll probably go down to a different size. See, this one has a design to it. It's got a design in it. So you can go all the way around this inside. And all you have to do is take them off. They're self-sticking. They come on a strip like this. You just peel them off of there, and I will go all the way around the inside of this box with those pearls. Do that up there and up here too. And I'll choose the size. I don't want to do that until I get my varnish on, or I may even use this large size. See, I can go in here and put this large size all the way around inside that box. And I can do the same up here. Now up here on the top, I may lay it down in the inside instead of putting it around this edge, because down here it might interfere with whatever somebody put in the box, but up here it won't. So I may go around on the inside up here and put them in, you know, at the very top, and go on the inside part of the box. And I'll put those pearls all the way around on the inside of the box. You can get these in colors. You can get beads in blue. You can get them in all different colors. You can get them in pearls, rhinestones, all different designs. But if you just go to the studio, paper studio section in the Hobby Lobby, you'll see all kinds of them. See here, this one is large rhinestones, and they stick really well. Plus, I have used them on pieces that I then pour resin over, and you can use them. See, there's some purple ones. You can use them and then pour resin right over top of your beads to hold them in. So you could do that if I'm doing a tray and I'm putting those in a tray and then I resin right over top of it. That does it. So the inside will just get the varnish, the soft touch varnish from Pin Art, and I'll get the beads in there. Now I'm ready up here to put my, ooh, I got a little bit of wet on that. How'd I get that? Okay. I'm ready to glue this thing on. I'll show you some legs. I'll probably put some legs on it. So I'll show you those two. I have a box up here of all different types of legs. And you can get those on Amazon. I buy all the metal pieces from Amazon. These little boxes come from Hobby Lobby that I keep all this stuff in. See, this is Hobby Lobby boxes. These are really neat for storing all your stuff in. You got little individual pockets. And I've got different, see, these are corner pieces, but this box is not, can't have a corner because it's got rolled edges, so you can't put corner pieces on there. But see, this is a little leg. I can put these little legs on here. They go on with little screws. This one has a piece, and I'll put these little legs. See how that goes right underneath there? Put those little legs. I'll put legs on the box all around the four legs on the box. I've got that style. I've got 2 or 3 different styles that I can use. It's only one I've got handy right here. Okay, this one. Yeah, this one. So you can see like this. This is the way the legs will look. And I'll paint the bottom of the box. Okay, but you can buy these on Amazon. If you just go in and put in metal jewelry box legs or whatever, you'll have all kinds come up. This is a cute little handle. See, you can put a little bitty handle. I could do that. Put a little handle on there. Make that little tiny handle. Even though it's got a latch on it, I still can put that little tiny handle on there as just a thing to lift it up. So if you flip the switch, flip the latch, and then lift up with the little handle, you've got a lift on it. So most boxes, this is the first one I've ever had that had a latch, a good usable latch on it. Usually they're plain, or they don't have, you know, anything on them for that. But I will put a, you know, do some decorating on it with those things. Okay. So now I'm going to glue this down, and then we're going to be about finished with this one for the day. Because when I glue it down here, then I've got to let it sit here to dry. And I'm going to use stick fast, and that's what it's going to look like. You'll see this. I'm going to hold this up so you can get the idea of what it is finished. And when I glue it down, see how pretty that is? That is beautiful. Just this gold on the sides, real simple. Gold on the front, and then the flowers in the middle. Okay? Now, you've watched the whole video. If you've watched the whole video, now I'm going to tell you a little something. If you share out the video, if you share this out, and it shows me that you shared it out publicly, and you are a follower of my page, if you follow my page and you share this out, then by the middle of the month, what is today's the 4th, I'm going to do this through the 15th. If you have done that, then you will be in the drawing to win a sheet of the paper. I will send you a printed sheet. The winner will get a printed sheet of the designs along with a set of the resin designs that goes with it. So be sure you like it, you like the video, comment, like the video, share it, let me know that you shared it, and you are a follower of my page, okay? and then we'll have a drawing about the 15th. I'll have a drawing out of those, and somebody will win these 3 pieces and a design so that you can create your own box. Okay, now I'm going to use Stick Fast, which I've used my Stick Fast. My thing's already gone off of it, my label is. And then, like I said, I will varnish this one, and I may go back in and crackle that. I'll decide that later. If I do, I'll use the 2-step crackle from Pin Art. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on here, and then we're going to be finished with this one. So I hope I've helped you with a little something, and I will try, like I said, if I can't be live online, just please understand, girls, you know, life, we all crafters are in here to make money. You know that. Everybody's here to, you know, to increase their income and make money. But money's not important when it comes to family. So, you know, and the things, my husband and I have been married 54 years in December. And when it comes to things of your family, you know, that's what has to come first. And that's always been, that's why I've not been on